Hi, how are you?
Come on.
I was with the right one, so I had to make sure I was up to
Hello.
par.
Hello. Come
I
through.
love this hair on you. I can't tell you enough. This color is everything.
Thank you. And then
And with the nails,
I have to do my nails to match the hair. Like, okay, because this is what we're doing here.
I saw the post. You did that.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to the S.O.S chat. Come on here. Yes.
Are you talking about me?
Don't get me excited. Don't get me excited. I'm already like hyped.
I'm so hyped. Like, it really is an honor to like be talking to you, especially because you were in Essence last month. I'm like, wow, do I deserve? Like, and not the digital. There, pull out the magazine with Yaya. You were in Essence last month. We love to see it.
In stores. We're in stores. Hold on, because I got to turn to a hashtag page 85.
Okay, shameless plug. Please go get the Essence. She's in it.
Hello.
He's in it.
Let me shameless plug myself real quick, because we just going to do it like this real quick.
Listen.
Let me find it, because I'm not about to play with y'all. Every time we get on this live, I'm about to be like hashtag page 85. You guys can catch me at Essence Magazine, the July-August issue, speaking on Imposter Syndrome. Hello.
Okay, period. Period. You deserve. No, but honestly, it made me so happy because like you've been doing this work for years. Like I will never forget in college. I just remember I just randomly talking like periodically. You'd be like, girl, I see you when I do my There's Always Tuesday, and you were always such a light and always so encouraging to me when I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And like you're like, no, but you're doing great. So like it really makes me so happy to see you win in the way that you are, because you've been doing this work. Like you've been at this.
Thank you. And I so appreciate you. You guys, let me tell you, Ari is like a ride or die supporter. Like, I don't even remember how we met, but I just know from day one, she has always supported like heavy, like without a question, like more than people I've known for like 10 years, more than people that I've known for like way longer. Like she has always supported me. So I had to invite her. And the same with me, I'm always supportive of anything that she is doing. And so she is just such a beam of light, like always. If you guys know her, she is just so, I put in my email, like beautifully infectious. Her energy is just so like just a fresh ball of sunshine. Like that's how I could describe it. And so I am so happy to welcome you, Ari, to this chat. Hey, you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in.
So, first of all, thank you. Like, I'm over here like blushing. I appreciate you so much. But yes, I'm Ari. Ari Sianeh on Twitter and IG. That's at Ari, ARISIANEH. I am a motivator, an encourager. Above all, I'm a creator. Most people from the past kind of know me for writing. I had a blog called There's Always Tuesday, which is a play off of my like actual name, not my nickname. My family's West African. My dad's from Ghana. For every day of the week, there is a name. My name is for Tuesday. And I had really bad anxiety and depression. I felt like every day felt like a bad Monday. So I was like, well, there's always Tuesday, meaning that you can always find perspective that maybe Monday sucks, but like I don't need to wait till Friday, because oftentimes we wait for our Friday, which is like when we make it, which is when we're at that place. But it's like, if I can enjoy Tuesday, I think I can be okay. Like if I can get to that day, if I can get to that point where I'm like, I may not be where I want to be, and chances are maybe I never will, because we always raise the bar. If I get there, I'll be cool. At some point, that I was in a different, like I got into a different place in life. So now I have Prosperous Perspectives, which is my baby. It's my pride and joy. And I mean, it honestly is just the more mature. There's Always Tuesday. There's Always Tuesday came from me being very depressed, not knowing my purpose was, feeling confused. And Prosperous Perspectives is me like knowing what I'm called to do right now. I try to steer away from saying knowing my purpose, because I find that purpose is so grand and so intimidating, but I know where I'm supposed to be right now. I feel like if you can know where God has you right now, that's all it is. Like, even if that's working a 9-to-5 and, doing a side hustle, or maybe it is just being a 9-to-5er, because there's nothing wrong with that. But having a job that you can access your dream life, whether that's traveling when you leave work, or whether that is, helping the youth, or creating your own organization, whatever it is. Prosperous Perspectives is that way of saying, that I just want you to have a perspective about your life that makes you feel abundant. Because so often we just limit it to our finances. And so what we do is we equip, empower, and encourage individuals to, find, I don't want to say find themselves. I can't stand saying that, but to find out what they're doing right now. What are they good at right now and how to get there. So we have products. Well, we have one product.
Yes.
So we have, and these are so new.
Find you. Tell us where we can find you.
So prosperousperspectives.co. So the Instagram is in my bio rather. And we have like these great cards called the Echo Deck, which are 55 affirmations to soften the inner critic, for those that need to talk to themselves a bit more lovingly, for those who are struggling with hearing the voice of God for themselves. Most affirmation decks are in I am, and ours are in you are. So the goal is to feel like someone's talking to you, whether it's that grandmother that always talked to you so lovingly, that teacher, and to change that inner voice that's so hard into a voice that's so soft that encourages you, that you can access frequently. So we have so many different cards. Like this one is you embrace change in all, what does it say? In all the forms that comes into your life. So they're really cool. They're for guys, for girls. People buy them for their kids. They give it to their family members. So get into it.
You see why I love her? Do y'all see why I love her? Like, hey, Chauncey. Do you see why I love her? Like, you guys, and she is tagged on the flyer on my page as well as Prosperous Perspectives. So make sure that you guys follow her. If you guys are not familiar, my name is Jay Monroe. I am the founder of the Slay League, which is a monthly self-care awakening that helps you to overcome imposter syndrome and self-sabotage and just bloom into your full potential, build confidence, build that freedom, build that courage, be able to set those boundaries, be able to say no, just everything it takes to slay your life in every area. And if you guys don't know, like we just shared, or if you are joining, or if you have just been hiding under a rock, I was featured in the July-August issue of S.O.S magazine. Hello. Speaking on imposter syndrome. So make sure you guys pick up your copy. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. The S.O.S chat is simply about self-care over self-sabotage, and really just embracing more self-care and eliminating the self-sabotage, eliminating the imposter syndrome, and just helping you to be your best self. Yes. So we are going to jump right into this conversation. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Make sure you share this live, invite your followers. If you guys are popping in from Twitter, shout out to my Twitter fam. Let me know in the comments because y'all always come through.
And do.
Yes. So we're going to get started. So Ari, speaking about imposter syndrome,
yes.
How do you see imposter syndrome show up in yourself and the people around you?
Well, it's so funny because, like, I always tell people, no matter how confident I come off, I'm still struggling with something. Mm-hmm. And imposter syndrome will always get to me, even though I've been, I don't know, a life where I wasn't writing, where I wasn't encouraging. Like, this is literally, like, my essence. I find that I still struggle with imposter syndrome. And the way I do that is I procrastinate the things I know I want to do. Like, meaning, like, God will tell me something, or I feel very called to do something, and I'm like, I don't know if I should do it. I don't know if I can. What if I'm not? And it's like, but girl, you're ruminating over it every daggone day. Every damn day, it's on your mind. So, like, just do it. And I find people do this all the time. They're like, well, I don't know what everyone will think about it, or I don't know if it'll be too weird. And so I find that it's usually the thing that we want that we procrastinate the most. And it's like, just do it. Because what I end up doing is I'll be like, all right, well, maybe I want to do it by this date. Then the date will come, and now I'm rushing. Now I'm like, oh, everything's all over the place. I feel chaos. I'm anxious. And it's like, girl, you don't have to be anxious, though. All you had to do was do it when you had the idea. And I find that so many people have that. And they're just waiting for someone to say, it's okay. And then someone will say, it's okay. So then they're going on, like, Instagram, like, all right, well, this is me. Let me type on myself. I'll refresh Twitter. I'll refresh Instagram, go on YouTube, like, all right, the first video, if it refers to what I'm talking about, I'll do it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to pull a card. Shameless plug. I'm going to pull a card. And be like, all right, if it says that you're at the right place, right time, I'll do it. And it's like, girl, you're trying to figure out and I said this yesterday online, you're trying to figure out the how and the when and if it's going to connect this and connect that. But God said move. Come on, Sean. God said move.
Come on, Chauncey. Just move when God says move.
Just move.
That's disobedience. When you know you're supposed to be moving and God is telling you to move and you're just like, well, I don't know, God. Like, you sure? And God is like, girl, do you want this or not? So you saying you want it, but your actions is not saying that. And you're just, what I said before, you waiting on God and God waiting on you. Like, where's your faith? Okay, faith without works is dead. So you need to move forward. You need to start picking up your feet and doing something towards what it is that you want. God is not going to do everything for you. Like, what are you doing? We do this so much. And it's just like, you get there. And then when you think like, oh my gosh, if you put in the perspective of I'm being disobedient, then it's like, you better pick up your feet. Because for my believers, hello, if you know you're being disobedient, like God will lovingly correct you, but you're gonna go on that path. And if you want to go on that path and be disobedient, God is gonna let you, because you have free will, and you're gonna struggle probably a little more than you would have had you been obedient and follow the path that God has for you. So I love what you said about, like, we procrastinate so much on the things that we want. And it's like, for what? Out of fear of what? If you know that who God is and what he has called you for, even if you don't know what he has called you for, you know who he is. So you can keep moving knowing that. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to know what the next step is. And I love that you said for right now. Giving them something for right now, because oftentimes we think so far ahead, like, okay, what's going to happen with this, or what's going to happen with that, or how am I going to do this? And God is like, girl, just move right now.
Right now.
Like, I have the next step set up for you. All you got to do is move.
And the crazy thing about that is, it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. Like, the whole time you're sitting here, like, let me tell y'all something. Everything I'm doing right now, I've written since 2015. And the funny thing is, I will go ahead and keep rewriting the message. I'll get a different journal and keep rewriting the same message that I've literally been writing since 2015. 2015, like me doing the text message prayer list. You can find that information on my Instagram too. Get daily text prayers to your phone. I've been wanting to do that for years. Me wanting to motivate people, I've been wanting to do that for years. Like the Instagram strategy I'm using right now, I've been wanting to do that for years. There is nothing in my life that I'm doing right now that I did not want to do. And the thing is, God was like, I'm not letting you go to the next thing until you finish this. Now you got all these new ideas and you're like, but I need to finish that part first. Yeah, you're still going to get other things, but what did God tell you to do yesterday? Do that first. And that's where the imposter syndrome, I find, really gets us messed up, because your call is still on your life. The call doesn't leave. You may ignore it. Woo! Now you up at night, you can't sleep. You're like, why don't I have rest? Why am I still in these situations? Why do I feel like I don't have control over my life? Because you're still you're being disobedient. You're disobeying yourself. Like, you're disobeying what God called you to do. And now your soul, because we're our soul, like, this body doesn't belong here. Now your soul it's frustrated. There's tension there. And you don't have to live like that.
Right. Exactly. And it's just like, okay, all this that we're doing, and it's like, we say we want something, but how much do we really want it? Do we want it more than the opinions of other people? Do we want it more than our fears? Do we want it more than, you know, what we see everybody else doing? And it's just like, okay, let me stop and think about this. Let me reflect and see what it is that I really want. Because if you say you want something, you're going to do everything it is to get it. You're going to do everything that it requires. You're going to be like, okay, what do I need to do? We see you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We so appreciate you. And it's just like, being disobedient is not going to get you anywhere. You might get somewhere for a little bit, but it's probably going to be the wrong way. And like, direction is more important than speed. So if you're going fast,
that's a word.
You going the wrong direction, honey, you can go as fast as you want to. You're still going to be behind. So now you got to turn back around and go the other way and start all the way over. Ari is preaching. Yes, she is. Like, okay, like, come on now. So it's really that thing of making sure, being self-aware when you do those things. I just posted a post on what imposter syndrome is, if you guys are really not familiar, and how to overcome it. And awareness is the first step in recognizing that and being able to catch it and say, okay, you know what? I'm procrastinating right now. And procrastination is one of the biggest forms of self-sabotage that I see. I think every, not me clapping in the middle of the supermarket.
Period, Maureen. Period.
Procrastination is like one of the biggest forms of self-sabotage. I think almost every guest that I've had so far has talked about procrastination. And so procrastination is also linked to perfectionism. Like I said, we feel like we have to have it perfect. We feel like it has to be a certain way. We feel like, okay, I can't start without this, or I can't move without this. And it's like, no, you have everything that you need to start right now. And we
And what you
see this.
don't have, there's grace for. Like, my favorite verse would be that great, like, my grace is sufficient enough. Like, oftentimes we're trying to be perfect, but it's like, let God in that. You trying to be God, let God in that. Like, you
Come
don't have
on,
to have it all together. There's
come
something
on,
about when you can come into something as who you are and say, but God, I know that your touch is on this. I know that no
come.
matter what, I will be okay. When you do that,
Let
when you
me get
just
this
trust that
collection
grace is
plate
enough,
because
I
y'all
ain't gonna
not ready.
start preaching, but you know that's who
Y'all
I
not
am.
ready for these words. Y'all
Like,
not ready. Where's my collection plate? Like, let me pass the collection
listen,
plate.
my grace is sufficient, so trust in
Yes,
it.
yes. And I feel like, who is this? I feel like I'm being lovingly read for filled, but I really need this today. Thank you
Glad you're
guys.
able to get
Hold up,
it.
there was another one that said, somebody said, I really needed this message today. Preach, I'm ready for the word. Okay, let God. Like, seriously, like, you are not God. You do not have it all
No,
together.
and
So
don't.
when you do that, you are literally putting yourself above God to say, you know what, I can do this better. Like, this is the whole word. Like, this is why I love you.
This is
Thank
why I
you.
love you.
Thank you so much. Like, seriously, like, come on now. And when you think about how self-sabotage has affected you, I
Mhm.
know you said procrastination, it has been the thing that has held you back most. Where do you feel like you procrastinate? Like, when you're getting started with something, do you feel like it's in the middle? Do you feel like it's once you've finished and it's like, okay, I don't know if I want to put this out? Where in the process do you feel like you procrastinate most?
All right, so it's like the funniest thing. So all my friends will like they crack up. I have a life coach, and my therapist. They all crack up at this, and it's that even my social media manager, she cracks me up because she's like, "You have all the content. Like if you go on any of my Google Docs, because we got mad emails here, any of my Google Docs, it's done. The
Yes.
strategy is there, the
Mm-hmm.
outline is there, the work is there. I have pages, like pages
Mm.
and pages and pages of like, oh, this is a webinar I want to make. Here's a course, and they're done. That's the crazy part. I'm really telling on myself. I'm being very vulnerable right now. Like, and I will have the work, but I'm like, I don't know if I can put it out. Even these
Mm.
cards, my biggest thing was, so I ordered all these cards, like, because I sold out the first case, which is so exciting. I sold like over
Okay.
150 cards, like a soft
Yes.
launch. So I ordered a lot more, and like everybody's like, well, when you put them out there, I'm like, what you mean? Like they're out there, and I'm like, why do you do this? You just be letting them sit in the like you sit in the house and you sit on your ideas, and it's like, just get it out of there. So for me,
Yes.
my moment is I do the work, but then when it comes to being in front of people and actually releasing it, that's where I get scared. It's like I already
Mm.
gave birth to the baby, but you ain't even seen on the gram yet. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we don't cover the baby's head. You don't like I am Michael Jackson with the baby outside with the cloth on top. You don't need to see
Stop.
it. No, I did
Stop.
something. No, I did something, but you don't even know what I did. So the
Listen.
procrastination for me is actually like putting it out there because that's the most vulnerable space. Very
Mm.
Erica Badu. I'm sensitive about mine. So
Hello.
I'm like, I don't want y'all judging me because like I'm confident, but my feelings get hurt. You mean? And
Right.
like,
Listen. This is precious to us. This live is oozing success and gratitude. Come on.
thank
Yes.
you.
This is what I'm talking about.
It
Like, okay.
is
I love that you said, someone else said when they finish too, it's like that's the most vulnerable part of it. It's just like we've created this. Now it's like, okay, how well is this going to do?
yes,
How good enough is this? Imposter
yes,
syndrome makes you feel like, is this good enough?
yes,
How are people going to receive this? Are they going to be as excited about it as as I am? Or,
exactly.
are they not going to like it? What are they going to think? Or is this going to sell? When you're starting a business or you're starting a product, is this going to sell? So all
Exactly.
those things, it's like, I love how you said, it's like we do the work, but then when it comes to actually putting ourselves out there, it's that vulnerability that causes us to pause and procrastinate and kind of take that step back to say like, okay, I don't know if I should do this.
Yep,
That self-doubt enters and it creeps in and it's just like, okay, what's really going on here? So
absolutely.
that is so important to recognize where you procrastinate in the process. Is it at the beginning? Is it in the middle? Or is it once you finish? Because once you know where you procrastinate, then you can look at the reasoning to say, okay, let me take a step back. Let me see why I procrastinate in this area. Why am I procrastinating on getting started? And a lot of the time procrastination comes a thing, it's because we're not prepared. And so if you are taking the steps to prepare yourself, you wouldn't be procrastinating. You would be knocking stuff out like, okay, left, right, what's next? Because you have your list of things to do. So lack of
Exactly.
preparation breeds self-doubt.
It
So
does.
make sure that when you are starting something new, you're prepared process. And then when it comes to that middle part, or it comes to that end piece, it's like there's nothing to doubt, because you've prepared everything. You've prepared the way to say, okay, I know this is ready, this is set up, and preparation is going to make you more confident, because once you know that you've put work in and you've intentionally done something, you can't tell me nothing. Like,
now we're dealing with facts and not feelings, and so it's different.
Woo! Come on!
Once you start dealing with facts, like, I'm a trainer at my job, so I tell people all the time, like, if you have the facts are I've done everything I need to do. I have my checklist, so you can't tell me I didn't do it. I probably had someone look over it. Knowing me, I probably had about a few people look over it. Like, you already know God's in it. You just got to do it. So if you have the facts now you can prepare for your doubt. Like me, I literally create space. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give myself 4 procrastination days because I know I'm gonna do it. That way, after that, I can't. I'm like, all right, well, I this is part of my routine now. Where do we go from here? You do it.
I love that. You know what? Give yourself procrastination days. Like, and that sets yourself up to provide grace. It's a form of practicing grace. It's because you know you're going to have those days. And even if you don't know you're going to have them, you're setting yourself up for them.
Yep.
So when they do happen, you're not beating yourself up over not getting something done. So putting those procrastination days in place is like a precursor to your grace. It's setting you up for success to say, you know what? I didn't get it done today, but that's okay because there's tomorrow. There's always Tuesday. Like,
period. I like what you did there. Period.
Hello.
Like,
and once you've covered all those bases, by the time you get to the end to worry about who is going to like it or how people are going to perceive it, you're not even going to care about that. Nope. You're going to be like, I know, like you said, God is in it. I know that I've done everything that I need to do. So this is just, it's all about being patient and just keep going and just keep going. That's it. So I absolutely love that. And a lot of the times we ask God for wisdom, but we don't listen for what it is that he's telling us. So it's like, okay, God, can I do this? Or do you want me to do this? And before you can even hear from God, you over here doing something else that you shouldn't be doing.
Then wondering why you don't feel peace.
Like, now, girl.
Now you're busy and not productive.
Woo!
Wasting energy. Now you're exhausted when God is calling you. Once you're called to do that thing, now you're exhausted because you spent so much time walking around the same hill because you've been walking disobedience the whole time. Meanwhile, where you were supposed to go, your freedom was literally a couple minutes away. It was a couple seconds away. It was a couple days away. It was one person away. But you was over here at Starbucks when you was supposed to be across the street. Like, why? You could have. And the thing is, we're always trying to position ourselves for what God's supposed to have us, but we're not listening.
So it's just like, when you ask God for wisdom or you ask him for clarity, make sure you're listening for the answer and not just going off of your own understanding and what you want to do and what God is calling you to do can be 2 very different things. 2 very different things. So that listening, I think, is a big part that plays in where our path is directed and how it's directed and the struggles and the hardships that we experience and that we come to. Because God is not going to lead you down the wrong path. He's not going to create chaos for you. He's not going to create confusion for you. And all of that comes when we try to do everything ourselves. Right at my neck with it. Listen, we're coming today. We are coming for all the next. Like,
where's the choir? Where's the choir?
Like, listen. So you really have to be intentional, like with anything. I'm very, sometimes people can describe it as picky. Sometimes people can describe it as, what's another word that I'm looking for? Like precise, but I like to say that I'm very intentional. With a lot of things. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, I can be shopping. I'm very intentional. I'm reading reviews. I'm looking at the material. I'm looking at the size chart. Because, listen, this is going to fit me. I'm not returning this. Like, when I get it, I don't want to have to return it. It's so funny because I see all the time people on Twitter, like, about returning something. They're like, it never gets returned. Me, I'm like, oh, baby, it's getting returned. It's getting returned, period. Like, I will go. I'm going to find a way to return this. Hey, Alexa. I'm like, I'm going to find a way to return this.
No,
like, so, but the thing is, I don't have that problem because I'm very intentional.
Well, go ahead and flex on us. Flex on us as we have Amazon boxes upstairs. We supposed to be returning. So, you know.
See, now look, I actually have a post on how to prevent what I got from what I ordered. Like, because those could be 2 very different things.
Shameless
but
plug.
you need to know how to do it. So it's like, okay, make sure that you are being intentional. Being intentional, being picky, like people call it. Stop letting people call you picky. You are intentional.
Please.
You are intentional.
You have
So
a
they kind of put a
standard.
negative connotation on you preparing for success. Intentionality is about preparation. And so you're
Yes.
preparing. Somebody calling you picky and try to put a negative connotation on that because you're being intentional and you want to set yourself up for success. Baby, no, we're not doing
You
that.
are selective. And
Yes,
when you
selective.
know that you're selective, when you know that yourself, you are chosen, that you are creative intentionality, you don't worry about it. Like, you can't worry about that anymore. That's your
No,
problem. That's not mine.
no, exactly, exactly. So
Wow.
in that self-sabotage and imposter syndrome, like what's the most helpful thing that you're learning in your journey to overcoming that?
A few things.
Okay.
So, one, I'm gonna always tell you, give yourself grace. Give yourself
Mm-hmm.
grace. Two, allow yourself rest. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yes.
find that when you give yourself rest, when you give yourself like a decision making period as well, like, okay, I'm gonna give myself 3 days to sit with this. I'm gonna allow myself, like, this is my decision making routine. This is how I make things happen for myself. Like, I'm a writer, so it's like if I find that I'm struggling with like imposter syndrome, some form, one, I'm gonna write about it. I'm gonna pray about it. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, oftentimes my writing ends up being my praying because that's the way like I communicate with God depending on the season. Um, I have a life coach, like I said, and like we just get down into it every other week. We get on the phone. All right, what's going on? Where are we? What is the strategy? What is the plan? She's like, all right, so this is our 6 month strategy. Where are we at in that? What needs to get done? You know, using your task manager, not being too rigid, knowing
Yes.
that I can be flexible in that. And when I do like make what I might deem as a mistake, or maybe I feel like I could have done something differently, I found that, the thing that gives me most peace, that just blessed me so much, was like knowing that it's always divinely timed. Like even
Yes.
this, I was like, dang God, like, I'm really weird about like selecting things. You know, we go back and forth in dates. I was like, should I do this date or that date? And this can happen this date. And like, this date could get weird, but it's like, it's always the right time. And also remembering that
Yes.
like, you don't have that much control. Like you have a lot of control, but it's not so much for you. Like, don't
Yes.
make it all about you. Like, well, I got to make
Ooh,
this happen. No, God's like, oh, baby, all I ask you to do is be present and show up and
that's
to take
it.
it one thing at a time, because I look at things too grand. That's where I start getting anxious. Like, I will start to give myself a panic attack about something. I'm like, what's gonna happen in 2023? Can we get out of this day first? Like, let alone this month. Like, girl, what are you talking about? That this is also what helps me. I stopped looking at people as being exceptional. Like, I think people are amazing beings. Everybody will know I would admire you. Like, I will adore you. Like, and I'm real good at saying, if I like your outfit, I say I like your outfit. If I like your shoes, I like your shoes. I mean, I give you compliments, but I ain't about to lie to you. But I say
Right.
to say that. I say to say that even though I see people as so phenomenal, and I love people, I'm really a people person. I found that I put pedestal people and think, well, they had a formula and they have some type of magic. And I'll be reading everybody's story. And it didn't matter if I was reading about Joseph in the Bible. It didn't matter if I was reading about Mary and Martha. It didn't matter if I was reading about Oprah Winfrey. It didn't matter if I was reading about Harriet Tubman. It didn't matter if I was reading about Nat Turner. It didn't matter if I was reading about Beyonce. The story is always the same. You showed up, or you knew you had something inside of you. You had some type of conflict of interest of, I don't know if this could work for me. Then you had to practice some type of steps and be present every single day, whether it's your 10,000 hours or whatever. But the point of the matter is, I learned that there was no secret to this, like the success. There's no, what's the prayer for the man? What's the prayer for the job? There is no
Girl.
prayer. The prayer is,
Right.
God, if it's for me, let me be present for it. Let me be discerning for it. If it's not for me, let it go. And then let me move. And wherever it's not for me, give me, like, if there's confusion in it, let me move. Let me get out of that. But let me just keep going. Like, let me not keep going back and forth if I should do this or not, or this is my thing. Let me just pray, say, God, if this is not for me, rebuke it, move it out of my way. And if this is for me, but there is an obstacle, help me to be discerning enough to know the difference, so much so that I'm not in my own way, so much so that I'm not self-sabotaging. Because when I know who I belong to, when I know what I'm called to do, when I look at my faith files, which are what I refer to all the things that I've been through and how I've made them through, there's always the same formula. It's just that I showed up and I kept showing up every single day, and showing up is different. Maybe Monday it's doing the work. Tuesday, maybe it's taking a nap at 12. Wednesday, maybe I don't show up at all. And maybe Thursday, I can make up for that. But I know that it's trusting that it's always divinely ordered. It always comes to pass. And there's always, I have yet to find a day that God did not call me to do something where a
Mm,
stranger, a person, a book, a video, a something,
mm.
even down to a bug will come by and I'll look it up. I'm that type of person. I'll be like, I ain't never seen a lizard on the street before. Let me look up the symbolism of that. And it'll be I'm so serious. It'll be exactly what I
Listen,
need. But I'm open to all the ways that God would talk to me and know that God is always directing me if I was wrong. Always. Even not being wrong. God was like, baby, let's just, you get it, but you ain't get it. Let's go ahead. Right. Yep. Right
right.
there.
Mm. Girl, I hope where's the collection plate? Because somebody find a collection plate. Please, somebody find a collection plate. This is why I love Ari, because she comes with it. Like, please make sure y'all follow her. She is
Thank
tagged on
you.
the flyer on my page. Make sure that you follow her because she do not
Thank
play.
you.
Like, I love that you said there's no secret to success. It's the same formula. Keep showing up. Keep showing up every single day. And like you said, that may look different. The same with self-care. It's going to look different from day to day.
Thank you,
Definitely
Alexa.
following her, yes. It's
Thank
going to
you.
look different from day to day. Self-care one day might look like doing what it is that you said that you were going to do. Mm-hmm. Another day, it might look like resting. Mm-hmm. Another day, it may look like, okay, let me figure out what it is that's overwhelming me. Another mm-hmm. day of self-care might look like, let me dig into my childhood trauma because this is affecting the person who I am now. This is affecting my relationships. This is affecting my opportunities and the things that I'm going after. Yes. So letting that be different each day and giving yourself that grace to say, it does not have to look the same every single day. It does not have to look like everybody else's. And I love that you pointed that out. It doesn't matter what story it is.
It doesn't.
It all looks the same. The secret is the same. Keep showing up. If you keep showing up, if you keep hitting something in the same spot, it's bound to crack. You can't keep hitting something in the same spot and there's no dent that you're not making. So keep showing up. You're gonna press forward. Self-sabotage, you're gonna push through that. Imposter syndrome, you're going to push through that. So when you learn how to push yourself and keep showing up day to day, and like you said, showing up does not always mean doing something. Yeah. Showing up does not always equal being productive. Rest is productive. Yes, you are allowed to do that. And sometimes the things that you have done have already set you up for the next day or for a year later or a week later or a month later. And it's like, I can go back to this. Whoever I'm talking to, I have something for them. I can refer them to this. Or I've been through this. I can give that to them. Something I sent out in my email this week was, you don't have to always learn the hard way. You don't have to always learn through experience. You don't have to always learn through failing. I think we have that mindset of, I have to fail in order to learn something. You can learn through other people. There are people who have done things that you haven't done yet. There are people who have done things and make mistakes that you are going to make had you not ran into them, that have learned the lesson for you that you can learn from. Absolutely. So stop thinking that you have to fail or you have to learn the hard way or you have to struggle in order to succeed. There are people that are put in your path for a reason to say, hey, I know where you are. I've been there. This is what has helped me. So getting out of that mindset of lack and struggle, and it's just like, no, I don't have to struggle to succeed. No, I don't have to, fail the hard way, or I don't have to go through a million lessons just to get this in order to push forward. So knowing that and just really just giving yourself grace is going to make all the difference. That blueprint that you think you have to follow, you don't. Wow. Everything, like you said, is divinely timed. Oh. So whether I would have posted or not, I still would have been featured in S.O.S magazine. Period. All I did was keep showing up. Period. That's it. That is it. Period. That's all I did was keep showing up. And so don't let people make you think that you have to follow a certain pattern or a certain formula in order to reach success, in order to reach the things that you want to reach. It's like you can do things on your own time and God is still going to bless you. God still has a plan for you. God is not going to say, if you don't do this, how this influencer does this, I'm not going to bless you. What? God is not part of the Instagram influencers. Girl, get out of here. Like, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. And I find when we do things like that, we put that unnecessary pressure on ourselves. We put that stress on ourselves. And then we're wondering why we have anxiety, why we fall into depression, why we fall into comparing ourselves to everything we see online. Even salt looks like sugar. So it's like, okay, it looks good from the outside, but what does the inside look like? How long did that person have to struggle before they got to where they are? How much help is this person getting? How big of a team does this person have? How much time does this person have? How much money and resources do they have? their journey is going to look way different from yours. Amen. Today I had to rest. Yes, you have to rest. It's going to look very different from person to person. So don't compare your journey to that of everybody else's hand. And if you're doing the best that you possibly can and you have God in the mix, that is a recipe for success. Hello? Like, what is there to worry about? What is there to doubt yourself about? And then at that point, you're doubting God, because it's like, what are you doing? Where's your faith to say that, no, God, I know you're going to work this out for me. God, I know that this is divinely timed. Lord, I know that faith without works is dead, so I'm putting my foot forward. You're going to do the rest. So a lot of the time, is it procrastination or is it lack of faith? Is it procrastination or is it lack of faith? Are you procrastinating because you don't believe that God can show up for you? Are you procrastinating because you think you have to do everything on your own? That lack of faith is leading you to procrastination. Wow. If you are not, I'm a Christian. When I say God, I'm talking about Jesus, just to make that clear, because a lot of people don't specify. I'm talking about Jesus Christ. I am a believer.
Jehovah Jireh.
Hello? So if you don't have that relationship with God, I'm not a person to try to condemn you. I'm not a person to try to say, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. What I will do is tell you my testimony and tell you how amazing that God has been to me, and that he is a loving God and will be the same for you. So the same way that God blesses me and the same way that he blesses Ari, he's going to bless you too.
Amen.
Like literally, if you do not have a relationship with Jesus Christ, I encourage you to get to know him for yourself. That is the best way. Y'all didn't come to play at all. Hello? Is it procrastination or a lack of faith?
Amen.
Like literally. Wow. So even removing yourself from that pedestal to say, I don't have the say so to make all the decisions. I can only do what the choices that God has given me, and he is leading me on that path. So let me make sure that I trust him, because he has already set the path for me.
Amen.
So there's no reason for me to doubt. There's no reason for me to be like, well, is this going to happen? Yes, it's going to happen. And I believe I have the gift of faith, because my faith is more than a mustard seed. Listen, I got a truck full of mustard seeds. Like, I don't know where my mom is, like, I don't know where it came from.
Come on, Appalachia.
Hello? Like, listen, you got the right one. If you need some faith, come holler at me.
Listen.
Like, for free, I will give it to you.
Amen.
Like, literally, if I know I can't do something, I know God can. So I don't worry and I don't stress myself over the things that I can't control, over the things that I can't do, because I know somebody who can. Get God on the phone. Jesus on the main line. Hello? Like, we do not play at all. So check yourself and ask yourself, are you procrastinating because you're not prepared? Or are you procrastinating because it's a lack of faith? What is your reason for procrastination? And when you start digging into that, then you're able to break that away and dive into that.
And a good prayer for that is, God, help my unbelief. Like, there's a story in the Bible where there's a man that he's struggling. I can't remember exactly what the struggle at the moment was. And I just remember, like, them saying, like, God, help my unbelief. Help my unbelief. And it's interesting because that might actually be the same story. There's another story where the disciples couldn't get something out of someone. And God was like, well, you don't have what you need for this. Like, you don't have the faith for this. You don't have the thing for this. And it's like, you're allowed to say, God, I have doubt right now. People always find it so interesting when they're in my intimate spaces to find out, like, I struggle with doubt still. Like, I'm like, God, can you, like, I know you're going to do this, but, like, are you sure? When no? Like, it's getting a little, like, I ain't about to tell you what your clock says, but I'm just saying, I don't know. I feel like this will be a great opportune time, God's like, just wait on it. So I always tell people, come to God vulnerably and say, I don't have the faith for this right now. Please help me. Affirm me. Amen.
Yes, that is a great thing. Amen. Come on now. Like, I feel like we're going to close this out with a prayer. Listen.
So, I'm the right one. Listen, don't stop in here praying.
Girl, listen. Like, help my unbelief. Do you think, what is the scripture where it talks about if our earthly fathers will give us what we ask for, do we not think our heavenly Father is not going to give us what we ask for? Like,
that's
and we got all kinds of disobedient. Like, I don't know how God be putting up with us. I would have been, I'd have been like, you know what, y'all on your own.
It used to be a different way. God used to send blood,
be
like, you know what, to the ground you go now.
Right.
We thank God for grace and mercy.
Yes.
Because I ain't building no ark for y'all.
I'm about to play with y'all.
I ain't building no ark for y'all.
It's not gonna work. Not at all. Here, he is so patient. He is so patient.
It's so lovely, isn't it? You just
like, right? I'm in awe sometimes of how patient God is with us. Because I'm like, we could never have that much patience. Like, we'd be ready to be done with
And
people
don't
in
ask
just
me
two
for that type of
seconds.
patience, honey. They be like, Jesus with an ing, I'm a follower. I'm gonna just let you know right now.
Hello, try Jesus, don't try me. Like,
and that's on Yahweh, the covenant keeping God. That's their promise, not mine. Okay.
right, exactly.
My question for you is, so as a person that's like, I know you still live in Cali and they moved to New York, and I know that like you, whenever I look at you online, I see this person that's full of so much love and so much light, and it's made a lot of decisions, a lot of faith-based decisions. I mean, clearly you're a praying person, that you're a believer, but when you do have those moments, because there's that moment where like you're like, all right, God, you told me we're gonna do this, you're getting ready to jump, like you're doing these things, and I know for me, it's like I get this moment where I'm like that fear, and that's when I like start usually I cross, I'm like, I don't know. When you get those moments, if you get those moments where you're like, I don't know, like maybe where you possibly start questioning your decision when you get there and things get weird, like what is the thing that you do to affirm you, like, okay, God, like I'm in this with you, or to keep you, like what is that thing that keeps you going when you're like, I don't know, I've made a great decision, I'm leading these people, like do I have it, like what's going on? I guess what I'm saying is when you're doubting yourself, what's that thing that helps you the most?
Oh, that's a great question. Prayer is
Mm.
number one. If I am confused as far as a decision that I made, or if I feel like, okay, God, the timing is just not moving how I feel like it should be
Mm-hmm.
moving, which again that's a control aspect. Like, girl, you're not in control. I go to God in prayer and I say,
Mm-hmm.
God, okay, I know you said this because I've listened. I asked you for wisdom. I asked you which decision to make. I listened for the answer and I made the decision that I thought that I heard you say. I will
Mm-hmm.
ask God to confirm this. I will ask God to lead me and give me wisdom. And then also ask God to give me patience. Because a lot of the times
Mm-hmm.
we want things so fast and we expect things when we ask for them to happen right away.
Yeah.
We expect things for God to move like, now God can move in an instant, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But a lot of the times there's a lesson that we have to learn while we're waiting, but we tend to skip over that part. So
Mm-hmm.
asking God, like, okay, Lord, what is the lesson that I'm learning in this? Is it patience? And your patience is also linked to your lack of faith, because it's like, okay, this is not happening now, I should do something else.
Yeah.
When really it's like, no, where's your faith to trust in God, to say, God, I know this is going to happen. Give me the grace, give me the confidence in you to be able to wait this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
Let me be able to trust you in this decision that I've made. And
Mm-hmm.
God is not going to steer you wrong. God is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should repent. And if he said it,
Wow.
he will do it.
Wow.
That's scripture. So if God said that he's going to do something, I trust him on his word, because I know who he is and I know how he has come through for me before. So
Wow.
I reflect on those times where in the past where I've waited on something or I've asked God for something and it didn't happen right away, but it
Mm-hmm.
happened, like you said, in divine timing for me
That's
before.
wow.
Even when I had those moments of self-doubt in myself, like, I made this decision, God, okay, nothing is happening, I don't see it. And it's
Right.
like, daughter, faith, where is your faith? I've shown up for you continuously how many times before? So if God has shown up for you before, why is he not going to show up now?
Right.
So and that could be part of just my faith and how it enables me to get through those moments. But I'm very confident, but I
Mm-hmm.
still have moments of doubt. Everybody has moments of doubt. People would be
Right.
lying if they told you they didn't have moments of self-doubt.
Yeah.
But getting through those moments and just reminding yourself who you are, reminding yourself whose you are,
Mm.
and what God has done for you before really helps me in those moments to get over that.
Wow. That was good.
And it's just like, doubt yourself for what? God has created you uniquely.
Yeah.
Apart from everybody else, he has created you. So
Mm.
do you think that God has made a mistake in creating you for you to doubt yourself and who he has
Mm.
created you to be?
Wow.
So it's like, when you start to doubt yourself, you're really doubting God, to say, God, you created me like this for what? Are you asking God why he created you so wonderfully? Like, what?
Mm.
Who taught you to doubt yourself? Who?
Mm.
That's a learned behavior that we
Wow.
pick up through our experiences, through our traumas, through our relationships, through our family, because our family is our first form of community.
Mm.
Our first form of community. So sometimes that can look a little shaky for you. So those are the things that you doubt. But instead of putting it on those things, we start to question ourselves and who we are to say, oh, well, I can't do this. I'm not capable of doing this. Is it that you're not capable, or someone has taught you to believe that you're not capable,
Wow.
or someone has forced their beliefs on you, or their lack of faith onto you, what they wouldn't be able to do? Are they projecting their fears onto you? So you really have to look at those things and say, where's the self-doubt coming from? Is it me, or is it the opinions of other people? Is it the lack of work ethic from other people that are telling me, how are you going to do this? Or there's no way that you can do this. Self-doubt a lot of times creeps in as different voices, just like imposter syndrome. And it's like really learning how to filter out those voices is how you get back to yourself.
Wow.
It's how you get back to your most confident self, your most courageous self, so that you're not doubting yourself.
That's good.
Wow. If you could describe self-care in one word, Ari, what would it be and why?
It's grace. And it's grace because like I always go back to what I said from the beginning. God's grace is sufficient enough. Like,
yes.
I feel as though when I want to give myself the permission to rest, it's like, okay, because there's grace. When I want to give myself the permission to like go and do the work that God is calling me to do, it's like, okay, but there's grace. So I know that I can do this. If I know that I need that confidence, like I got the grace. Is perfectionism, I got the grace. Whatever it is, like self-care for me, the word is grace. Because it's giving yourself grace to say that I don't need to do this on my own. It's saying that I'm not doing this on my own. I absolutely, even if I was doing my own strength, God will still push behind me, because God is so gracious that even when you're doing things, you're doing the good thing and not the God thing. God will still protect you. God will still be a covering to you. Grace is saying it could have gone another way and it didn't. It will always be grace for me. And I will always tell people, give yourself grace, because you can find the voice of God in that. No matter how stressful life is, no matter what is going on, there's a level of kindness and patience you have for yourself when you're gracious. You can extend that grace to other people. And that is the best form of self-care, because there's nothing like actively sharing grace without someone else and watching them do that and seeing their spirit soften, seeing that peace soften, seeing them in these moments of confusion. And they start to be like, you know what? I can, like you say, my mom always says to me, so I'm like, I'm confused. God's not in that. What you want to do? That's it. She was like, God's not in that. She's a very matter of fact person. God's not in that. So it's like, grace will always be like the word for self-care for me, because I can rest in grace. I can do in grace, and I can be in grace. That's a bar.
I love that.
I like that.
I absolutely love that. I completely and wholeheartedly agree. And that's one of the biggest things that helps you to eliminate self-sabotage and imposter syndrome, and just get to God, who God has called you to be and what he has created you for, is grace. The grace is there. If God is giving you so much grace, why are you going to put so much pressure on yourself?
Exactly.
If God is not judging you as harshly as you are judging yourself, why are you putting that extra pressure on yourself? There's no reason for you to continue to put so much pressure on yourself when God doesn't even do that. God gives us so much grace. That's your example right there of how you should be giving yourself grace.
Exactly.
How you should be giving yourself grace is how God gives you grace.
Amen.
You mess up. We mess up every day. And God turn around and be like, girl, here's some grace. Girl, I knew you go.
Give me a hug. Give me a hug. You know what I mean? Like, that's what God be like.
Like,
oh, baby, come here.
Come here. Like, it's like that loving, like you said, that loving, tender, just kind-hearted. And it's like, I'm not God. Who am I to judge myself so harshly when God don't even do that? God don't do that to me. He don't do that to us. We mess up and God be like,
I already thought about that. I already filtered that in there. I knew you was going to do that. Just go ahead.
Go ahead. You was gonna do that.
God is a friend. God is a parent. God is a comforter. Like,
right. Like, come on now. So it's just like really taking yourself off that pedestal, because you are not God to judge yourself so harshly. And God has created you to be uniquely yourself. He already knows what you're going to do. He already knows that you're about to mess up tomorrow. And guess what? He didn't already give you grace for it.
And doesn't even seem to mess up. God was like, oh, that was a part of it. Don't even worry, because there's a lesson in that. Because I found that every time I thought I messed up, there's a lesson in that. There's always a lesson. And you're like, ooh, that's what I needed. Like, I'm watching, I just started watching the Wu-Tang show like last night. And there was a part of it where I guess they went for a show, and the guy, he wasn't necessarily like the best rapper. And him and his friends were like rapping before they get started, right? And then he's like, you know what? We messed up because we didn't do it as a group. We wouldn't have Wu-Tang if if they didn't go to that show and rap
Yes.
individually. And so it's like, you thought that was a stutter, you thought that was an obstacle, and God was like, no, but it was the right thing to do, because that's how it's going to speak it to you, and that's how you were going to get it. And I trusted in you. I trusted so much in you. I knew that I could position you in that, and you would do exactly the thing that you're harding yourself for. So give yourself grace.
Come on with this word. Like, listen. So that the place where you think you mess up is really a lesson. There's a lesson there that you would not have gotten had you not messed up.
Nope.
God would have had to get your attention another way. And let me tell you, if God is trying to get your attention, baby, he will get your attention. You keep running if you want to.
Ask me how I know.
Ask me how I know.
Been in Ubers after I went to in Atlanta. The way I found out I had to move back home was I went to 3 parties with my friend and one night. Great time, pre-COVID, of course. And we get the last car. We get into an Uber. We didn't like 3 Ubers at this point. She looks back at me and says, "Woman of God, why are you running? You know what your calling in your life is. You know what you're supposed to be doing. You already do the work, but you don't think you're good enough. Why?"
Woo!
And that's how life works for me. I be running and God be like, "Just you thought." Grabs the back of my shirt every time. Every time. So
every single time. And it's so beautiful how God will continue to pursue us no matter how much we go in the wrong direction. No matter how much we continue to mess up, God is still pursuing us. He is still so loving to try to correct us, and not in a harsh way to where it's just like, dang, God, that was messed up. Like, why you do me like that? But in a loving way to be like, come here. Let me sit down.
You tripping, but go ahead. Come on.
Go ahead, come here. Now, you know you weren't supposed to do that. You know what you were supposed to be doing. And it's like, dang, God, you're right. I can't even deny it. I can't even argue with that, because I know I should have been doing something else. And when you listen to what God is telling you, again, that clarity is going to be there. It's not going to be like, okay, God, what should I do? Okay, God, I don't know if this is the right decision. God will lead you to the right decision. And even when you feel like you've made the wrong decision, it's still the right decision, because God causes all things to work together for our good. So that decision that you've made, God is already like, girl, I knew you was going to do that anyway.
I ain't even worried. You was worried. I wasn't worried.
We'll get it together.
Amen.
Like, come on now. So it's just like, we really have to look at those things as lessons and divine timing versus I messed up.
Yep.
It's like, no, I messed up for a reason. And finding out what that reason is going to get you to the next step in the place that you're supposed to be. So giving yourself that grace is self-care. Giving yourself that grace is going to help you to stay on track and do the things that God is calling you to do. Yep. God has not called you to be scared. He has not called you to be fearful, like whatsoever. Wonderfully, and if you are around me long enough, I will rub off on you. My fearlessness is going to rub off on you. My faith is going to rub off on you.
Leo.
My confidence is going to rub off on you. Like, listen. So there's no way that you're going to be around me and play small. There's no way that you're going to be around me and be harsh on yourself and not give yourself grace. And when you position yourself around people like myself and people like Ari, there's only up for you from there. Hello. Divine time. Yes, love that. Truly will give yourself grace. Yes, you have to. You have to give yourself grace. Otherwise, you're going to overwhelm yourself with burnout. You're going to overwhelm yourself with stress, anxiety, depression. You're going to go through all these things. Why? When you could have just gave yourself grace. You could have just been like, you know what? Today it didn't happen. You know what? There's always Tuesday. It's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen the next day. It's going to happen this day. Like, come on. Like, give yourself that grace. Give yourself that knowing. So I love that. I love that you said that grace is self-care, because it really is. When you really think about it, in any aspect of self-care, we are not perfect humans. We are not perfect people. Giving yourself that grace allows you to have the mess ups. It allows you to be messy and beautiful at the same time.
Amen.
So I absolutely love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Like, for that. Like, that was, I feel filled. Like,
I'm filled for the day. Like, I'm like, you know what, Lord, do your
over.
thing.
Like,
it's done.
Listen. Hey, Lex.
Replay.
Look, I'm going to have the replay up in maybe a couple weeks, but thank you for tuning in. And you can start over anytime, even in the same day. Like, you don't always have to wait for tomorrow to start over and give yourself grace. Like, I messed up today. I'm going to try again tomorrow.
Amen.
No, you can be like, I messed up 5 minutes ago. You know what? Let's scrap all all this. We're going to start over. Let me give myself some grace.
I'm real good for, oh, you know what? I could have said that differently. Let's, I'm real good for them.
Let's bring it back.
Bring it in. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Like, literally. So giving yourself that grace to say, grace can look from moment to moment. It can look from day to day. It can look different for each day. Self-care and grace can look very different from person to person, from day to day, from moment to moment. We really appreciate you guys so much for like coming on and like rocking with us. And like, when I tell y'all I love Ari, like she is like,
I love her too.
Like, I mean, like, you can, like, if y'all saw this, like, y'all know, like, how amazing she is. But when I tell you, she has been so supportive from day one. And what she said, I think her post was like 2015 when she started There's Always Tuesday.
Yep.
2015, you guys. What is this? 16, 17, 18,
and I still haven't come to see you. I need to. like it never works out. But
what are we doing?
It's coming.
It's coming. Can't help but love Ari.
Oh,
like,
thanks, sis. I appreciate you.
Like, baby, this live was divine timing.
That's my bestie.
Can we about this live? And I knew it had.
Can we talk about how amazing Simi is, though? Like, she's amazing. So shout out to her. That is
she is phenomenal. Thank you guys so much. If you shared this live, if you tuned in,
thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Self-care is a big part of self-sabotage and eliminating that. And I really wanted to just start a conversation around it, a new kind of self-care, because a lot of the times self-care is a temporary thing for us. Self-care is, let me buy myself something nice. Self-care is, let me treat myself to dinner. Let me treat myself to this. Let me treat myself to something that's temporary. So with the Slay League, I created it because I wanted something to be more tangible and something more that has more longevity in your self-care. And it's like the root of self-care, those things that you're buying, those things that you're doing for yourself, they're nice, but it doesn't solve the root issue. It doesn't solve the problem. The problem is still there. So make sure that you guys follow at the Slay League. Make sure you guys check out theslayleague.com. Make sure that you guys pick up your copy of Essence Magazine, the July August issue. Hello, page 85.
Yes. So, and then buy some cards. I have an Echo deck, which is a self-care affirmation deck to help you soften the inner critic. It is on my Instagram. It's on our Instagram for my company, Prosperous Perspectives, at Perspectives. So get into it, get your life together, gift it to a friend, great bookmarks, all that. So.
Yes. Make sure you guys follow. If you are not following Ari, I don't know what you're doing. If you're not following her after this live, I'm probably blocking you. So no, I'm playing.
This is the type of friend. These are people you need in your life, okay?
Listen, make sure you guys follow her. Again, she is tagged on the flyer that is on my page, as well as her business, Prosperous Perspective. So make sure that you guys follow. She is doing amazing things.
Thank you.
The deck is amazing. Come on.
Thank you, Angeline.
Yes. Like, make sure you guys check those out. Like, hello, period. I have enjoyed this conversation.
I adore you. Thank you for creating a space for us, for being everything that you are, and actually being the embodiment of what you say you are. So we thank God for you, woman of God. May you be blessed. May you be, may God continue to double your portion and expand as God expands your, what he's giving you, I pray that expands your capacity, that you're able to receive those things, and that you're getting so much love and support, because the work that you do is not easy. So we thank you.
Amen. I receive all of that. Like, isn't that, like, come on. Like, I feel like I need to put on some praise and worship music. Like,
I'm about to go worship right now. Like,
hello. I just want to thank you just for being who you are. Not even for what you do. I just want to thank you for being who you are and staying true to that. Yes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you on the next SOS chat.
Yes, see you there.
Bye, guys.